everybody, welcome to my first video. We're gonna talk about I think the most underestimated feature on JavaScript, that is console. Well, I think a lot of you know console log, but that's just one of the part of the tool of this wonderful tool that help us to debug. So let's stay with me with this video and let's talk about the feature from the most common one, the most known one, until the end of the video we'll do with some unknown, very unknown ones.
For this video I prepared this setup. We have on the left side the code with a simple HTML file that includes a JS file. For now it's empty. On the right side I'm showing just the log of the browser open on the same page that is shown on the left side.
We all know the basic usage of console log, so we can pass to console log a string and or number or boolean, array or object, and that's value. These values are shown on the log of the browser, and the log tell us also what type of data we are seeing, because for example the string is shown in different color than boolean or numbers, and we have the object defined with the curly brackets and array with square brackets and the indent immediately in front of it. We, in some case, for example, if we have just in this case, we can have just a number, and we can struggle to understand what is the meaning of that number. One of the trick can be to add a label in front of console log, as console log accepts several parameters, and so we can have it. So if we want to show several values in the same line, we can decide to have or one common label. So when we see the numbers, we understand that the first value, the 5, is the first number, and the second value, 8, is the second number. Or we can wrap it in curly brackets. So in that way, the console log shows us directly the values associated with the variable names. So if we we've used a good variable name, we can easily understand what does that 5 or that 8 mean.
We often have the console log inside some stack of codes. Like in this case, we are calling outer function, a method that is this method is calling inner function 1, inner function 3. The inner function 1 is calling inner function 2, that is calling inner function 3, that is showing a console log. So here we see we have the same message twice. Once when is called the inner function 3 is called by the chain that we just described, and the second one when the inner function 3 is called directly from outer function. In some case, to debug our code, we don't need just the message, but we need to know what's the stack that brings us there. So with the trace, we have the list of stack the list of the function called that the function that are in the stack that bring us the code. And here we see that the first log we have is showing the function 3, the function called the log, inner function 2, inner function 1, and outer function. And the same here, we have inner function 3 called directly from outer function. And the other advantage that we can have is that, of course, like in the console log, we can have the link. We have the link to the line of code that called the console log or the console trace in this case. But we have also the link on the place of the stack where that where this level of stack change to the next one. For example, here we have we have inner function true. If we click on inner function true, we see that the console show us the line that moved from inner function true to inner function 3, so to the next level of the stack. If, for example, we go in outer function, here is highlighted the line that is calling inner function 1, and if we call another function but on this line, is highlighted the line that is bringing us to the next level of stack, so inner function 3. So until now we've seen the difference between the log, usual log, and the trace. We have other three interesting methods that are warn, error, and debug. So the warn, error, and error works quite similar to console trace, and they show us the message with the stack. But the message is highlighted in a different way. That's the icon and the background color that we see in the warning, and the icon text color and the background color we see in the error. And the warning and error is shown by default collapsed. The trace is called by default expose. So we don't see the debug. Why? There is a reason. That's because we have a level of inspection of the message of the console. Here we see that there is one hidden. If we show here we have the level that we want to see, the level of the message we want to see. We can see the info, that is the one of normal console log, that is included in console trace, the warnings, and the errors. We can choose the verbose, that is was the debug is shown. And we can choose it to avoid so much pollution inside the console. For example, I don't want to see the error, and I don't want to see the warnings, but just the verbose, so whatever is the debug, and or I want to see just the errors, so I'm not interested in anything else. With, of course, all is stuck. And we can choose with this icon, we can see whatever we have, the full complete 5 errors, or we want to see just the error, the warning, the info, and just the verbose.
Often we want to show an error in the console just under a condition, like in this case. So if it's a good result, we show nothing, and if it's bad result, we show the error. A nice shortcut um, can be the console assert. So as you see, it accepts a boolean as first argument and normal normal params like console error, the same params that console error accept as second param, other params. Like for example, can accept array or object, and it just show the error as at the error level only when the condition is false. Sometimes we can be interested to count something, for example, to count how many times line of code is executed. One way to do it is using the count method included in console. And the count, in the count, we can pass a label, and every label will represent a counter, and every time we call the method, it increases the counter that is associated with that label and show us what the counter result is. And that's a simple example. I have two different counter, my first label and my second label. and the first time is called, it show my first label with a value of the counter 1, and it increases to 2 second time. Here I call 3 times and see with my second label, and I see my second label 1, my second label 2, my second label 3. And we have a chance to reset a counter with a count reset. In this example, I've just resetted my second label, and I added here the warning just to show where I did the reset, because the reset doesn't show any message. So here, as you see, we have the usual result we had before, and because we resetted just my second label and the counter associated with the second label, and the first label still, the counter related to the first label still going up. The JavaScript keep increasing the counter associated with my first label, but it's starting from 0, my second label, the counter associated with my second label. In this example, we have our original source that is sorted numeric array, and with our two methods, linear search and binary search. We are interested this time to the performance of the methods, and console time can help us to see the performances. Exactly, we can use time, console.time, to see to start a timer, console.time log that show us how many milliseconds are passed between the execution of this command and the execution of this command, and time end that stop the timer and tell us what's the difference, the millisecond again, between this command and this one, the start of the timing and the end of the timing, the start of and the end of the timer. So if we execute this code, we see that we have the default, the first, that is the time that we need to run the binary search, and is 0.12 millisecond. And here is shown the time that we need to run everything, binary search first and linear search after. And we can have several timer to run in parallel. You see how accurate it is. So it is milliseconds. So here is 1.6899 milliseconds. So in this, we have the chance to run several timer to run in parallel. Now I will not show the example of parallel code. I will show just how to do it. We can add a different label. For example, here binary. I'll add the label binary time, and I pass the same label, and here we'll do linear. So we are starting one timer and ending the same timer by passing the same label, and we are starting a new one and ending a new one. So this one, what we see the label with the time that is needed, and again the new label linear with the time that the time that are passing between the moment we call the time and time end for passing linear as label. Sometimes we need to log a lot of values just to understand debug better our code. And this is a simple example. We are logging the first 30 number and the 30 numbers starting for 50. And here, by looking inside this log, it's difficult to understand where the first for loop is finishing and starting the second one. So to the console from JavaScript provide an help for us to do it, console.group. So console group and console group end. Groups whatever is included in the middle, every console that is included in the middle in a group. And as you see, everything is inside all this part, all whatever is logged in the first loop is included in this group that is represented in this way. That can be exposed, it can be showed as exploded, in this case exploded, or collapsed. And so when we run it, it's collapsed. We can decide to add some label, and we have the label inside the logged here, and we can decide to nest the groups. In this case, we have the full group that is starting here. Inside of that, we are starting a group collapsed first that includes whatever is in the inside, and we are closing with this one the first group collapsed. We are opening the second one and closing the second one. This one will close the full group, and whatever is inside the first group here in the full, we show whatever is logged between the full and group end, um, like this. This is a log. Something very useful for us proposed by JavaScript, the console of JavaScript, is the console.table. In this example, we have the sorted array and shuffled array. They both contains the first 10 numbers, the first sorted and second one shuffled. We can see it by the console log, and we see sorted array, and that's what we have. We can explode it and see it, and but we can use, instead of console log, console table. So in this case, we have everything under our eyes. That can be useful, of course, if the array is not so big. And here we have the array itself. And we can decide, we can do it by object as well. In this case, the wizard one is Harry Potter, so we add wizard one here, and we see first name and last name of the object. And but where this is really um, really useful, the console table is very useful, is when we have array of objects. So we can have, for example, wizards, that is wizard 1 and wizard 2, and we show the wizards here. So we have the array of elements. Of course, here we have the array that we can explode, or everything, to have everything immediately visible. So for every line, we have the first name and last name, everything sorted. Or this can be just an object instead of an array. And we have here the keys and first name and last name of every wizard. We can decide also to style our messages, and that can be useful if we want to highlight some of the message that we have. How we can do it? We can add the style by adding %c in our message, and then adding a second string that will represent the CSS rules for for that text. For example, color we have it in red. We can decide to add so many CSS rules, like for example, background color pink and padding 4 pixel. And we can decide to have several parts, several styles from different part of the message. For example, here adding %C, and we can add the second style for the second %C, and we do, for example, color green and border 2 pixel green solid and padding 8 pixel. So this style will be applied to the second %C. If you find this content useful, hit the like button, add your comment, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends.